10 Weeks of Ted, week number 11, episode number 11. Yeah, okay, my bad. I know that makes no sense, but, who knew they were going to have require 12 shows to wrap up not just the season, but the entire show. So, anyway, I'm not complaining. I just love this show. I'm going to miss it so much. Two major themes again, despite an hour-long show and so much time dedicated to wrapping up storylines and themes and messages and what have you, and it was just so well done. But two major themes I want to touch on. The first one being, and when I've talked about it before, the notion of forgiveness is for the forgiver, and it's a really cool moment where Jamie, one of the star players, if not the star player for Richmond, injures himself. And Ted has a conversation with him on the sideline, and it's clear that Jamie is distracted by the fact that he's looking for his dad somewhere in the stadium. And now he and his dad have had a dysfunctional relationship for his entire life. His dad has berated him, shamed him, threatened him as a young soccer player, and a good lot of his success is the result of him trying to prove himself to his dad, right? And so a lot of it's been in spite of his dad. And so in that moment, Ted invites Jamie to forgive his dad for everything that he's done. And he looks at him strangely, and he says, and he explains, this isn't serving you, right? Having this notion of revenge and trying to prove yourself, it's not serving you. And yet, if you forgive yourself, that forgiveness is a gift to you in that relationship. And so you can see that Jamie considers it and sort of shakes his head and agrees and then goes out, and you can see he's a different athlete, right? Because he's not playing with the weight of worrying about his dad. He's completely free to be the high-performing athlete that he is. And he goes out and has an exceptional rest of the game, right? And okay, it's a show, I get it, but it's true. Forgiveness is for the forgiver. It is a gift to us. It lightens us. It releases us from this notion of, I'm never going to forgive them. They did this to me. I'm the victim, yada, yada, yada. It's not how it works. And if you haven't figured that one out, I would invite you to try it out. The second one, another super important one, was the idea of where two coaches at the end of the game, Ted, obviously with Richmond, and the other coach from Manchester, Ted ends up beating the Manchester team. They meet to shake hands afterwards. And Ted said, wow, that was a challenging game. You're a tough team to beat. And the coach just says, look, no big deal. I don't worry about the wins and losses. I'm just here to help support these young men and try and make them better men at the end of the day, right? And Ted looks at him and just says, I couldn't agree more, because that's Ted's MO, right? If you were to ask Ted in an honest moment, why are you here? He's not there to coach soccer, right? I mean, that on the surface is his job, but what gets him out of bed every day is because he's in service of his athletes. He wants soccer to transform the lives of those men and make them better people. That's why Ted is coaching this team. And, on a personal note, when that penny dropped for me, I became a different coach. When I realized that my role wasn't to win stuff, but to transform the lives of the athletes I was working with, the whole gig changed, right? I became a coach in service of the athletes that I was working with. I was no longer chasing a reputation as a winning coach. Now, the paradox being, of course, what is required to transform the lives of these athletes, whether it's soccer or rowing, is what is required to build a successful, high-performing team. And so the byproduct of transforming the lives is you produce exceptional teams, right? The rowing crews that I work with went on to win a lot of races. Ted has built a team that is now on a 16-game winning streak. But that wasn't the goal. And it's not just sport, right? It's business, it's leadership, it's anything where you are trying to achieve something. So in business, for example, when business owners see their role as using their business to transform the lives of their employees for the better, that's a big moment, because their reason for coming to work every day changes. It's no longer about the bottom line. It becomes about the humans that you're responsible for. And that's a bigger driver. That's a cleaner fuel, and it's more sustainable. And so when you start putting your efforts toward transforming the lives of the people who work for your company, you start building a very successful and high-performing team as a byproduct. It's not the goal, but it's what happens, because what's required in transforming the lives of people is what's required in building a high-performing team. Nuance, maybe, but a huge difference. And if you embrace that, if you're curious to try that on, we would invite you to. It's a game changer. And if you want to chat a bit about it, we're happy to have that conversation too. So please feel free to reach out. So week 12 coming up, the last show. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Anyway, I look forward to that. In the meantime, have a great week, and be good to yourself. Find someone to forgive, and we'll look forward to chatting with you next week. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.